We got some fatties winning beauty pageants now.
Who cares about health anymore? Like, why do we even do this?
Who gives a shit? Yeah, who gives a shit? If you're gonna get rewarded for being lazy, then what's the point?
Like, not even lazy, just functional. Like, you're not gonna die in 20 years. Like, that's all you need.
Yeah, that's a plus now. That's a positive. You could start listing on your resume that you're in good shape. It's like I'm skinny. It's like an attribute. It's a positive attribute. What's your skills?
When they ask you about longevity and how long you plan to stay, I plan to live for more than 20 years.
That's good. That's good. What's your 10-year plan? To not die. It's pretty easy to do. You just be healthy generally. But the reason we're bringing this up, ladies and gentlemen, is one of there's just beauty pageants, the Miss different states and Miss countries and stuff like that. And there's multiple versions of it. So like there's multiple versions. In this case, we're talking about Miss Alabama. There's multiple versions of Miss Alabama. So we're not saying it's the official like highest ranking one, but this person still won Miss Alabama. And we figured we would talk about it. We'd also talk about Miss Maryland as well, potentially. What's going on with that? Which also kind of ties to Miss Germany too. I don't know if you saw that a few months ago, Stoph.
I did not.
Miss Germany. Yeah, so look at Miss Germany. This is a couple months ago that this happened. I forgot to send it to you considering you're technically a citizen of Germany. But yeah, there's also that going on too. That was a couple months ago. I caused some controversy.
I got one of the very first hits was a Reddit post, so we're gonna dive down that rabbit hole.
Yep. So, did you want to share your screen for Miss Alabama, or do you want me to take care of that?
You can. First comment on the Germany one was I miss 1940 Germany.
I don't condone that, but anyways, so here is Miss Germany. Sorry, not Miss Germany, Miss Alabama. This is Miss Alabama. This is the new one.
Not the skinny blonde one down at the bottom.
No, this ain't her. This is Miss Alabama USA. So like there's different versions of these organizations. So 23-year-old. She's 23.
That's honestly impressive for 23. Like
that's what I'm saying. Like that's very young.
No. Like it's impressive her physique at 23.
That's what I'm saying. To be built like that at 23 is insane.
Like I expected 30s or so.
Yeah, me too. So she won. So what was the organization called? You said
so. This is Miss National Alabama, which the regular is Miss Alabama or Miss USA Alabama. Those are the two. But Miss National Alabama is like either it's new or it's been around and you like more for like a I don't know, not like a shtick, but like giving out like more so like I can't find the word I'm looking for. It's like
so this
recognition.
This is USA National Miss. And look at the two people they use. Like it's been changing lives of young women. Highest quality pageant programs. Sure.
Yeah, the pageant circuit is awful for little girls. Like they get put through the ringer going through something like this.
Let's see what. So maybe this. Oh no, these are girls. Oh wait, there's also adults. Okay, I see now. Yeah, see, so like, why is it not sharing this screen? So if you go to state pageants, find your state. Let me share this screen. I'm just gonna share my whole screen, maybe.
Yep.
My entire screen. Here we go. There we go. That'll work. So this is what you expect.
Correct.
Generally speaking, they don't need to be muscular by any means. Just generally like it's a beauty pageant. Part of it is beauty. So
Yeah, physical physique is part of beauty. That's like
at least I think
it
this
has
is
to
the
be.
same. Well, I'm saying like at least I think this is the same thing. Same organization because it's National Miss. But like, let's see.
Well, there's no USA in the one that this other
Yeah.
woman won.
So this is an art. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Okay. National America Miss. No one has heard of it. I don't even know what it is.
And so that's my point. It's like this other
Yeah.
kind of pageant, but
National America.
it's still doing something like this, which, you know, the reason why, obviously Paul and I have our opinions, but the reason why we're discussing it today is because this whole pod is, focused on not just bodybuilding, but physical health. And this is the opposite of that. And the pageant circuit is most certainly supposed to reward physical health, or at the very least, you know, better physical options than this. So that's kind of why we're taking such a stance against it. We obviously have our opinions, though.
Okay, this potentially could be it. See,
Yeah,
their
but still,
arguments
look,
like
their whole site still, people, like, all of those girls are of, thin physique.
let me see. I want to see the children. Okay, see, like these, I guess make a bit more sense. You know, if you're talking about because like they're big about like body positivity or whatever stuff like that, right? So
Yeah.
like this makes a little bit more sense.
Yeah, they're not obese, they're just
They
on
don't,
the larger
yeah,
side.
they're not twigs or anything. Yeah, see, it changes from year to year roughly.
Yeah.
Like here's, but what is teen though? Like, oh, okay, I see now. No, because this is now okay, national, okay, and then this is like the junior teen miss. Okay, yeah, okay, so I can understand the body positivity side of things, sure, but
Yeah,
also,
but body positivity has a cutoff.
yeah, body positivity does not include
People who are
killing
in
yourself.
health danger. Yeah.
It's about being positive about things that you can't control. You know, the way your eyes look, the way your skin looks, the way your hair grows, stuff like that. That's what, if you're missing a limb or something like that's what it comes down to.
But
Not,
Paul, I can't control how fat I am.
yeah, not how much food you stuff down your fucking gullet. But yeah, so this is Miss Alabama for you. On the left. Just want to say that real quick. On the left,
The distinction.
not the one on the right. The one on the right I could understand. The one on the left I can't. So we got that, and then we also have the new Miss Maryland as well. So Miss Maryland, this is the new Miss Maryland, Billy Ann Kennedy. Believe it or not, Billy Ann Kennedy is a trans man. If they
I believe the
from
word you're
men
looking
to
for
women,
is this is a dude.
it is a dude. Yeah, it is 100% a dude. Probably still got a pee. Probably tucking it. But yeah, so a trans person won Miss Maryland, which is insane because not too long ago, which I think is funny, was Woman of the Year. I forget what year it was. Was Bruce, fucking Caitlyn Jenner.
Bruce.
I was gonna say Bruce Jenner, but it was Caitlyn Jenner. So Woman of the Year was actually a man. So even men are better at being women than women are, apparently.
Well, so that's the whole thing. It's like, do we, the people who fail to, or the people who make the argument for the other side fail to realize that this is dude, these people are dudes, and by doing so, you are promoting misogyny. Like they say we're misogynistic for having the opposing view, but you are putting down women by by having a man do and be better at being a woman. So by that standard, you are putting down women. Like the reason why we hold these opinions is because we but when I say we, between Paul and I, we promote women, we enjoy women, like we think women have a wonderful place in our society, just like men have their own place. Like it's separate. So the fact that they're now crossing over is like, oh boy, okay, we're fucked.
Yeah, and like the other thing too, you got to consider, like, I've read plenty of sci-fi books where it's far enough in the future where if you want to change your gender, you can get it altered at the DNA level. So all the way down to your chromosomes, it'll alter. We're not there yet. So even though, like, there's, in quotation, surgeries to make you a certain thing, you can never give birth. You'll never have a menstrual cycle. Like, there's so many different things you'll never have. You don't have the technology for it yet. We just don't. If we were in a place where you could genuinely get a surgery where you, at the DNA level, become a woman, then I could more understand it. But you can't get to that level. It's not possible. We're not there yet. We're not even close. We're probably a good 100 years out at least, because granted, technology advancement's exponential. So who's to say what we'll have in 10 years? But it's pretty wild to see stuff like this because it really is like, it's just like Miss Alabama, just in a different way. What's the point? What's the point of doing a Miss State or Miss National or Miss, whatever it is, if you're not even competing against women?
Yeah.
What's the point? That was the whole point of it. It was that it's women against women, and you're competing to be like the representation of the state that you're in. Like, that's the whole point. Same with the country. You're supposed to be the representative of the country that you're in. Like, this is like the ideal person in this country. This is the, according to this, a trans person is the ideal person for Maryland. Like, this is the type of people we want in that state. This is who they're going to choose to represent the state.
Yeah.
Essentially is how that works. So same thing with Miss Germany. Miss Germany was also a trans person. She won the whole country. They're not states. There's no states in Germany, but I'm sure that there's different provinces or counties or however they have it laid out, and you could probably work your way up to the country. But I mean, it's fucking crazy to me. What's the point?
And that's for the entire country. That's really,
for the country of Germany.
Go back to the one you just had clicked on, the one to the right of it. Iranian born is new Miss Germany.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not even
German.
I mean, I'm sure dual citizenship of some kind, but still, yeah.
Yeah.
And, it would be like if I went and did something there.
We're not in America, though.
I've lived my entire life in the United States of America, but I have a German citizenship, so I'll go over there and I'll mess some things up.
Yeah, but also your ethnicity, your background has been German origin.
Correct.
That's the thing with these countries, is that the vast majority of the people in these countries who live there have been there for generations. So they are truly German. In your case, your family's been there for a long time, so they were truly German. In this case, she emigrated to Germany, which sounds fine coming from America, but the problem is that's not how it is over there. It's like we're a melting pot. We're a bunch of people who emigrated over here, so we're just a bunch of different nationalities, ethnicities, stuff like that. So that's kind of part of it here, is that you're going to have all different walks of life. But to have a non-German person win Miss Germany is fucking crazy to me. That's crazy.
And I was going to say too, if you can toss the screen my way. This is this. I'm not gonna play the whole video, but this pops up in my socials all the time whenever I have this this discussion. Let me know if you've ever seen this before.
Oh, yep. I know exactly what. Before you even play it, I know exactly what it is. Yeah. Yep.
You are most welcome. Giving you a
So how many are there?
mercy before we destroy your planet is my favorite part of the job. No, please, don't destroy us. We don't deserve this.
Yeah, this is a good video.
It's a hoot. Perhaps we should start out by introducing ourselves. I'm Chief of Space Operations, General Foreman. He, him.
Undersecretary of State
him.
Angus Miller.
He, him.
He, him.
Yeah.
Chief Diversity and Inclusion Officer Amanda Williams, she, her.
Oh,
And what exactly is a Chief Diversity and Inclusion Officer?
Oh boy.
It's my job to be a Black woman.
Well, good job, then. And what is this he, him, she, her, of which you are all speaking?
Those are our gender pronouns, so you know which gender we identify as.
I appreciate that, but I am pretty good at telling the difference between the two genders. A man, woman. Nailed it.
That was a light
Nailed
guess,
it.
but there are way more than just two
Light
genders.
Fascinating. We've been probing humans for years, and we have only discovered the two. How many genders are there?
62. It's
They
hard to
all
know,
say a
really. It's
different
changing all
number.
the time.
So, your species is evolving that rapidly. Remarkable. Perhaps while you are sitting here, you will grow additional limbs or develop the ability to breathe underwater.
No, that's not what we meant.
It's how
It's
you
too bad.
feel.
I breathe underwater. It's a lot of fun. If you threw 20 pennies into a pool, I could dive down and pick them all up without ever once resurfacing. Boom!
That's so stupid.
so they go on to say that there's all kinds of genders and all that, and he goes,
That's how you feel.
yeah, it's how you feel, and he goes because he talks about how like there's roles for women, there's roles for
Yep.
men in there in the alien society, and then he goes to say, oh, I get it. There's men, there's women, and there's what is it, mentally challenged people or whatever it was, like.
And that's
He
what
says,
the
like,
video
mental
just ends.
disorders. Yeah, and that was pretty much it. But that's a Babylon Bee. They're satirical. It's not meant to be serious, but
Yeah.
that's basically how it is. It's how it is right now. It's rough, but yeah. So we got Miss Germany winning. See, like it's like for me, it's not like she was like her background was Iranian. It's not like her family emigrated to Germany and she was born in Germany and was raised in German culture. She was born in Iran, raised there, and then moved to Germany, and then still won Miss Germany.
My thing
That's what's
too is
crazy.
like, even from, and we had this whole thing too when the U.S. swimmer did the transgender swimmer. I'm blanking on their name. But
Oh yeah.
the reason why we
Yeah.
have this discussion like in a physical and like fitness standpoint is because like biologically men will dominate, and that's from a like sports side, from a physical side, and now if you are adding in the beauty side of things, if you're saying that a man can now compete with a woman from a beauty perspective in a judged like subjective manner, then you're now just taking away more opportunity. And we've been trying to for the past 100 years been trying to exponentially increase opportunity for women, and that's really what it comes down to. And so from the fitness side of things, we're just it's two separate things. It can't be combined. Like what, like if a woman took the supposed cycle that Paul is researching on a male cow, then
Mhm.
she would die, or she would immediately completely change and more or less become a man. Like it you're no longer a woman at that point. And that's why from the physical standpoint it really fucks with us.
I mean, even if just taking it, like your body's going to go through a lot of awful changes as a woman. Like you can't just like hop on test and become a dude. Like you can't, like your body will start growing hair. Like there's appendages that will start growing longer. You start growing facial hair. Like it's all these weird things going on. Like your hormones start to shut down. You start having actual issues with like your menstrual cycle. It's gotta be most likely, if more than let's say like a full 3 month cycle, it's probably be very difficult to have a kid after that. Stuff like that, right? and we're starting to see it rubber band back in the other direction where women are almost feeling that, like, there's almost like there's this whole thing like cottage core type stuff, you know what I mean? Like where a lot of women want to return to, not all, but a lot are starting to want to return back home. But we built a society in the US where you have to almost rely on a 2-income household in order to just make it by, so we don't have the opportunities anymore to just live off of one income where you could have a stay-at-home mom or wife and take care of the house and the kids and all of that, take care of the home, and the man can provide the money to do so. So we're starting to see it rubber band in the other direction, and we're also starting to see the real negative side effects of these things where people are making a rash decision where they change their gender surgically before really understanding what they want to do with their body and why they're feeling the way that they're doing or they are, and then all of a sudden they regret it. There's women who've transitioned to men and now they regret it because they can't have kids. There's no chance. So, and then they're also promoting puberty blockers for kids and all this. I'm like, dude, like, you realize, like, there's so many things that you can't do as even under 18 because they're like, oh, you don't have like the computational ability to be able to do that yet. Like drinking, serving the military, driving, stuff like that. They're like, you don't have the ability to like understand what you're doing. Getting a tattoo, like there's so many different things you can't. Renting a car, you can't rent a car till you're 25 because you're too much of a liability.
Yeah, you haven't matured out there.
Exactly. So it's like you have all these issues, but then they're saying, oh, we're promoting puberty blockers and stuff like that because your parents might not be gender affirming or whatever. And it's like, dude, you give kids puberty blockers, their whole life will be ruined. Like they don't realize it, but 10 years down the road, when they realize that, oh, I was just an angsty teenager who just felt like I didn't fit in, and that's what I thought would make me fit in. Now I can't have kids. My life's never going to be the same. I'm going to die at 40 because I fucked up my whole body. Like, you know what I mean? That's what's frustrating. And like the problem is too, a lot of people who promote shit like this, like the puberty blockers and whatnot, not necessarily Miss Germany, but I'm saying, the puberty blockers and all that, they know dick about hormones and how the human body works.
That's my other
thing.
Let a bodybuilding coach decide that for you.
Oh, dude. Bodybuilding coaches know so much more about hormones than 99.9% of people in the trans community. I'm telling you. And they're the ones who will always promote not touching your hormones unless you absolutely have to. Like that's the thing. They're always promoting less is more or not at all if possible. If you're going to take tests, take TRT, take a small dose, like that. They're promoting all of that. But then you got all these people over here who don't understand anything about hormones saying that men and women are the same thing, especially if a guy's been off testosterone for a couple of years or whatever. That was the argument for the swimmer. It was like, oh, they've been off testosterone for 3 years. And it's like, that's not how that works. It's not like you just start taking estrogen and all of a sudden everything in your body just whittles away and you become a woman immediately.
So you're saying that off cycle, we're both women.
Essentially. Especially if you take, dude, there's this video, this guy, he took test and I think Tren or something for a cycle. Knew nothing about what he was doing. He just somehow had a source for it. Took it and went cold turkey after 3 months. He said he was done. He was done his cycle, so he went cold turkey, which you never do. You want to do post-cycle therapy. There's a lot of things you got to take. There's the post-cycle therapy is arguably worse for your body than it is being on cycle because you have to flush everything out. So and get back to natural production. So post-cycle therapy is very important. 4 to 8 weeks at least for post-cycle therapy after like a 12-week cycle. Dude goes cold turkey, goes to the fucking get blood work done, right?
Does he have
on his hormones?
one testosterone?
50 nanograms per deciliter. I'm like, oh, dude, that's like nothing.
You're barely
for
functioning.
Women. That's like literally like barely functioning, man. Like,
did he in the video like say that he was feeling like shit or anything like that? Because I mean,
I
at,
think he's
at 50, you're dragging yourself to work. You're
I
forcing
mean,
yourself to eat. Like you're not enjoying your life.
yeah, that's the thing too, is that like he probably doesn't realize how shitty he feels
Mm,
until he gets back onto something like TRT or something and be like, wow, I felt like shit.
yeah.
Because like you can like, especially when you do like post psychotherapy, and if your test does drop after time, your body has to readjust and start producing it naturally. So there is a time where it dips really low. Like mine's probably been like a little under 200 is my guess. Um, which is not a lot at all. That's terrible. But your body then starts producing it naturally and you get back to where your normal levels are. But during that, you gradually kind of work your way down, right? You have to kind of slowly introduce your body to naturally producing it. So at one point, you feel like shit, but you don't realize it because you're just slowly getting your way down. And
Mm.
then once I got back on, stuff, it's like, wow, it's fucking crazy. Like even after my show, like being on Test, Mast, and Tren, getting off Mass and Tren, also Clen as well, getting off all those, and then just doing Test, I was like, wow, I felt fucking awesome before. I didn't realize it. And then we slowly worked on our test, but like that was crazy. Even just those three, like, I mean, I remember how Tren made me feel literally immediately. Like
Yeah.
about a couple hours after, I was like, holy shit. Like it hit me immediately. My first training session, I still think about that training session to this day.
Well,
I still think about it.
even from the SARS perspective, like my recovery time goes way down, and I'm able to train way harder and way more intensely, and that is not the case right now, and it's like this sucks.
Yeah, you don't realize how hard you can go at it when you're on stuff that helps with recovery.
Yeah,
I go to failure every single day with pretty much every working set. You can't do that.
no,
You're not on anything, But and then like just how good I felt on Tren with my first train session on it, like arguably as good as sex. It was crazy. Like when Arnold,
you are
yeah.
just coming all
yeah,
day.
he's like I almost say it's better than coming sometimes. Like they never had Tren around then, but like I could totally understand it if somebody who
He was doing that
said
off of D-ball.
D-ball, yeah, just D-ball and test and just steak,
Oh.
just steak and potatoes after.
Can you
That's-
imagine, like, not that there is the ability for that, but someone who's from the golden era of bodybuilding who has that mindset, like, oh, 2D ball and 200 megs of test with a fat steak, that's I'm the best, I'm feeling the best I ever am, and then have them take like a modern cycle and just see what the
Dude.
comparative difference is.
Arnold will actually have a fucking heart attack if he had his modern day cycle in his peak prime. Like it's crazy. D-ball is nobody touches D-ball anymore because of how shit it is.
Yeah.
Put on a ton of water weight, like you just get overinflated, like you just put on so much weight for no reason. Nobody touches it anymore. But that's all they had back then,
Yeah.
Granted, it was probably cleaner and shit. You're getting it from doctors for like $5 a bottle and
Yeah,
shit.
because
like,
it wasn't
crazy.
all these regulations
Yeah.
building regulations, but not like established yet.
Yeah, they were getting there, but like you can go to a doctor, just get test and D-ball just because you want it. Like
I
they would
wish.
just like
Let's
you could
move
just
to
go
Mexico,
and get
man.
it. Dude, you just go into a store and fucking buy
Yeah.
it. That's great. Like
And it's
that's
not
crazy.
It's not even like just bad stuff. Like it's good grade stuff too. That you just walk in
Yeah.
and you're like, hi, I'd like test.
You like walk into a pharmacy basically and just buy it.
Yeah.
Like that's probably so much safer.
Do you take
then,
Blue Cross
like-
Blue Shield?
You take my insurance, please. They're like, sir, that's a cosmetic. No, it's not. It's for performance. It's not cosmetic. It's so I feel better in my own skin. I want to be extra man, extra human. But the I bet you it's probably safer, honestly, if we did it like how Mexico does it in comparison to how we do it here. Because like at least that way we know we're getting
Well, think about
good
it.
quality stuff.
In the States, we hear, at least from our ring, we hear all the time teenagers or mid to young 20s, even young 30s, guys who abused it and tanked their lives. Like even like go to the stardom names like Rich
Yeah.
Piana, like tanked himself because he was taking so much. From Mexico, the only drug related stuff we get is like cartel news, which is not what this is. Which means you either have a very like I'm blanking on the word I want to use, but you either have a very educated group or you have a group of people who doesn't have the desire to abuse it because it's available. Like humans, and I'm speaking in a generality here, but want to do something when it's said you can't do something. Like, and that's not everybody, but that's a good chunk of people. We have this like flick of the switch where it's like, you tell me no, I'm gonna want to do that now. And that's why we have, underage drinking and smoking. We have, people doing things that you shouldn't have the ability to. And now with, anabolics, it's illegal. It's illegal to own. It's right. Isn't that the wording? It's illegal to own, but it's no. It's illegal to distribute.
It's definitely illegal to distribute.
Yeah.
I want to say I think it's technically illegal to own, but you can, if you had a prescription, obviously that covers it. Doesn't matter how much you have. So it's like if you have a prescription for any dosage amount of test, for instance, you can have as much test as you want.
Yeah, because you can claim this is future use. Yeah.
Yeah, you could claim, yeah, exactly. But really though, here's the thing. I know people in law enforcement and stuff like that, and they will tell you firsthand that the DEA could not give less of a shit about anabolics. They could not give less of a shit. The people who like C-Bum's sister that got caught or whatever, where like did the control drop. First of all, control drops do not hold up in court. They don't hold up. They're basically pointless. It was a publicity stunt. This is the sister of C-Bum. He's a pretty big influencer. Like it was totally a fucking publicity stunt.
Yeah.
Because there was nothing really. There was no real need to do anything that they did involving that. And so that's the thing with anabolics. They don't really give a shit. Yeah, it's illegal to take, but so are many other things out there. People drive drunk all the time. It's illegal. There's plenty. People speed every day. Technically, these are also minor traffic infractions. At least speeding is. But I'm just saying, there's a lot of things out there that people have going on, and especially in a city like here in Charlotte, the police have a lot bigger things to worry about than whether or not I'm taking testosterone.
Mm-hmm.
They're understaffed, underpaid, and overworked, and they could not give less of a shit. Cops in general, a lot of them use it. It's a don't ask, don't tell kind of thing. You don't talk about it, but sometimes it's just like.
I was gonna say, take a look at like most physiques on a male police force. Like you've got some dudes who, if they're not competing, they look fucking incredible.
A good handful.
They are. Granted, they have to have a physical stance. Like you have to be in. Like you can't be a twig. You can't be. You can get away on the larger side, but generally speaking, you have to be able to. You have to physically restrain someone if need be, or use your physical capabilities. So you inherently need to have it for the job. But even with that standard, there are some yoinked dudes in there.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. That's why they don't. That's why it's like a don't ask, don't tell. They don't really talk about it. They're just like they all kind of know like who's using, but they don't really say anything about it.
Yeah.
It's kind of like weed in a lot of states now in the U.S. It's like people smoke and you smoke. It's getting to the point where it's like people just don't give a shit anymore.
Except in New Hampshire, we'll shoot you if you smoke weed.
Yeah, which is fucking crazy because New Hampshire's like all about freedom and shit.
You can do anything there except smoke weed. Yeah,
you smoke weed, God forbid you're dead. Like we're gonna just kill you. It's crazy, and I've never understood that. I've never understood the backwards logic of a lot of New Hampshire shit.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Like, yeah, it's all backwards. But to loop back to what you're saying about like Mexico and stuff like that, I think it's also something that we could truly say like. These trans issues, stuff like that, is truly coming from a place of privilege, being from the U.S. Like we are truly blessed to live here and to have like to see like Miss Alabama make like headline news is like such a trivial fucking thing that does not affect anybody's life, but that being like something that everybody's talking about is truly something to be like proud of, and be proud that you are in this country, because in other countries, for instance, Israel and Palestine right now, you know, there's a lot of stuff going on over there that most Americans could not even fucking fathom get through one day without breaking down. You know what I mean? So, you know, the U.S., like, I'm very happy to be an American. I'm very proud to be an American. But, you know, I love my country, but I hate my government.
I was going to say, like, the argument that always gets made when this conversation comes around is that, oh, when we were, like, just surviving, like, I mean, you can do hunter-gatherer even before hunter-gatherer, but the point being, when we were just surviving, we never had any of these conversations. No one, sure, maybe you felt off, but no one ever had these conversations. No one ever did anything. And granted, everyone always, you know, rebukes that argument because we've gotten to the point where we don't have to survive, and I get that. But there are countries who are not in survival mode, but still don't have this because they're still not in a place of, I don't know, like you called it, like privilege, like where they're not in a place of like enhanced living like we are here in the States. So it's truly, in my opinion, mental laziness. You've given up your desire to I mean, survive. Like we're living, we're having good living, but we're not progressing. You know what I mean? We're if anything, in my opinion, we're regressing, but that's a personal opinion.
So this is something that I saw something about the other day, and I'm like, wow, I forgot that was a term. So transgender is what everybody says today, but do you remember transvestite?
Yeah, that was what when we were growing up, that was the only thing that we had.
Trannies is what they were called. Trannies, transvestites. They were just men who would dress up as women to feel like women, which makes so much more sense than transgender. It makes so much more sense because you could dress, you know, they would go to work in their regular clothes, you know, they would, you know, put on the face that they need to put on to get through the day, like as far as like work goes and all that, to not you know, upset anybody, or just you know, they would go out of their way to be sure that like they know that this isn't, you know, in quotations, who I am, but this is what I'll do to make a living and do what I need to do. But then in their free time, you know, they dress the way they would want to and go to clubs and stuff like that the way they would want to. They weren't hurting anybody, you know, they were just doing their thing. They weren't forcing anybody to use their pronouns and shit, like whatever. It's like, that was the biggest thing. And, you know, there was jokes and stuff like that, but really at the end of the day, nobody really cared, from what I can remember. But then, you know, we have this whole thing now. It's fucking crazy. They're altering their face, their, you know, genitals and shit. It's crazy to see shit like that now.
And the difference too is that, you know, this when we're talking about like Paul and I growing up, that's 10, 15 years ago. And
not long.
But my point is, at that point, you only had like the super extreme people who are having the opposing argument, like a small handful. And for the most part, most of us didn't care. There was nothing being forced on us. Even if we saw those kind of people in public, it didn't bother us because nothing was being forced upon us. Like, we weren't being told we had to say or do anything. And now
it really started with the bathrooms, dude.
Yeah.
Like, what was it, like 2019 or something like that? That's really where it all started. Before that, they didn't give a shit.
What were they called? I know what they're called now.
Gender neutral bathrooms.
Yeah, but I feel like they had a different name when they came around. It was like inclusive bathroom or something like that. And you're right, that certainly is like the beginning.
Kind of the tipping point.
Yeah.
It's like the assassination of Archduke Ferdinand. It was one moment that basically started World War I and World War II because a 19-year-old decided to shoot someone.
Comparing transgenderism to
I mean, it's like one event that like really tipped the scales. Like, that's what it was for this. It was like the whole bathroom argument, and that just tipped it all the way to fucking Miss Maryland being a dude. Like, that's how we got to where we are today. I want men and women in both bathrooms to men are now winning women's pageants.
And now we need to figure out what's going to happen in 10 years from now. Oh boy.
Dude, I think this is all going to die out. I think this is going to be something
We're
that's
getting
like
close.
I think we're starting to get there. I think when we start seeing the long-term issues, that's when it's going to start being a lot more prevalent.
Well, yeah, when
like
turns out a man being a woman can't produce a kid and we start to have fucking population concerns, believe it or not, that's a problem. And for people, I love this argument. When people say the world is too many people, I'm like, if you take away, we have 7 point something billion, 7.4, something
close to 8. We're approaching 8.
Yeah. And if you take away even 500 million, which is what 10% of the population.
That's almost that's
you
basically
will
the little more than the US population.
Shatter the world economy.
Mm-hmm.
It will not function. The world, just with 500 million gone, will dissolve on itself.
Dude, World War II was like 11, 12 million people?
Something like that.
We're still feeling the effects of it today.
We're still feeling the effects of when Genghis Khan killed 10% of the world.
He killed a third, dude. I think it was a third. I'm pretty sure.
It was something wild, but
yeah, he killed some huge. But then he's also his DNA is also part of
everywhere.
A huge percentage.
Yeah. He's Jesus.
Yeah, but yeah, his DNA spans so many generations. It was supposedly he had sex with 3 women a day or some shit.
Something wild. Yeah.
Yeah, which is fucking absurd. But yeah, I mean, it's South Korea. I was watching a video about South Korea's population issues right now, because feminism went so far extreme that they started promoting. I forget what it's called. Basically, women not wanting men in their lives at all. Not even
the true independency or something like that.
Yeah, I forget. There's a slogan because there's in the U.S. and other countries there's MGTOW, men going the other way, where it's I'm not going to get married, whatever. It's kind of like that. It's like that for South Korean women, but way more extreme. It's not they won't sleep with men, they won't date men, they won't do anything. And South Korea's having such a population control issue. They're the government's starting to really promote having kids. They're
mm-hmm.
We don't start having kids right now, we're screwed. They're this country's gonna collapse.
And that is when people ask why, and a lot of the time it falls on people on the right, but it could be anybody. But when people ask someone why they have such a big problem with the transgender movement, it's because of this. Because I don't know the percentage, but let's say you and I say we're women, right? And we date men because we're women, right? Are we able to reproduce? No. Even if we have our stuff chopped off down there and a fake little thing put inside of it, regardless, nope, can't have kids. So you allow enough of that and you promote people choosing that they want to do that, you can't have kids. And that is literally the point of humanity, to preserve and protect and to continue to create future generations. And you take away that, extinction's right around the corner. You don't see animals doing this shit.
I think if you are over 18, I think you should have the right to do to your body what you want. Given, a doctor agrees to it and whatnot. I'm very, politically speaking in the US, I'm very libertarian. I'm very liberty. You do what you want to do. But the problem for me is when you're promoting it to kids who don't know any better and don't even understand what they're being taught about and what they're doing to themselves. That's the problem that I have. So if you are over 18 or arguably over 21 and understand the risks that you're doing to your body when you're taking estrogen, you're taking things that your body's not supposed to be taking. Even just taking testosterone alone and not suppressing the estrogen, your body goes through changes. That's where gyno gets introduced. You start having acne issues. Your balls start to shrink, stuff like that. We need estrogen in our system as men, but we don't need a lot. We need very little to function. So when you take testosterone, you take something that suppresses the estrogen. It's called an aromatase inhibitor. And women take these when they're going through, cancer treatments, stuff like that. They take it because their estrogen skyrockets during certain medications and procedures and stuff like that. And it helps with that, like breast cancer. I'm pretty sure they have to take stuff like this to suppress their estrogen to slow it down and stuff like that, right? So, these are the things that you need to take. So to take estrogen, I can't even fucking fathom what would happen to my body. Even just not suppressing it properly. Like, gyno and guys will flare the fuck up if you don't suppress estrogen, taking testosterone. So to take estrogen is like alone on its own is fucking scary to me. That is terrifying. Your body will literally change overnight.
Yeah.
And you need to understand like these risks. If you understand the risks, then and you're an adult, sure. Then you need to, that's you should have the right to do that. I really have a problem with the kid aspect of it.
Yeah. And obviously I can't speak too much to it because of what I do for work, but it's super prevalent and it's ridiculous. So
Do you see it from time? Actually, I don't know if you could actually about that.
I'll do my best not to comment on it just for sake of my career.
I was going to ask if you see it from time to time.
I do.
Or like that's like an issue.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
I wouldn't be, because that was never a thing when we were in high school and middle school and stuff, especially middle school, because you're in middle school technically. So like I had never even thought about anything like that.
Correct.
In middle school. Like it was never like, I remember, what was it in 8th grade? My biggest concern in 8th grade was getting into the high school I got into. That was my biggest concern.
My biggest concern was if I could run the fastest on the playground. You kidding me?
Dude, that was 5th and 6th grade for sure. I wanted to be the fastest runner so bad.
Every guy just wants to run the fastest when they're in middle school.
I don't know. It's such a weird flex. Like there's no reason to want that. But biologically, it is part of all of our DNA to want to be the fastest runner. There's no reason.
That's
I still remember that.
And that's, you could talk about like how men and women don't think the same either. Give me 10 middle school boys, they're all gonna want to run the fastest. Give me 10 middle school girls, and they're not gonna care.
We all go through the same shit. It's crazy. Yeah, I want to be the fastest runner, but yeah, there's so many things granted, I had the ability to not have to worry about in middle school, which is good. I didn't have to worry about where food was coming from and stuff like that, but I also think that like worrying about shit like this, like when you're that young is crazy, but also like anybody who's talking about it, it's also it really is like a, in quotations, privilege, because we have the ability to worry about things like this. In third world countries who don't have access to clean water and food and stuff like that, like that's their biggest concern.
Yeah.
We can just go to the toilet and drink out of it and be fine. We shit in clean water. So we got to be grateful of that at least. But yeah, I mean, it's wild. But something else to touch on real quick that this actually does come down to biology again too, is Eddie Hall.
This is so funny. This is so fucking funny.
So
do you have it?
When people say that, I do not. I can pull it up though.
Okay. For why I'm laughing, you'll see it in a sec. But for anybody who doesn't know who Eddie Hall is, he's a former world's strongest man, and he is like considered like the world's strongest man because he's got several records to his name. Between him and Brian Shaw, it's like those are the two strongest people this world has ever seen. And Eddie Hall still trains, not to compete, but his training is still so intense, and he's still one of the strongest people in the entire world. And he does some really dumb stuff because he is like that, and this is one of them.
So I didn't even really know much about it. It's an MMA fight in World Freak Fight League.
Yeah, this can't be a sanctioned thing. No one would allow this.
No, I think it's like an exhibition. There's only 3 rounds. It's nothing serious. It's just entertainment. It's purely just entertainment. This is not going to go on their records. Like he fought the Nafati brothers or something. They're probably not going to count this towards their win losses or whatever. This is just a fight. And the argument I've always had is weight has a big role in whether or not you're going to win a fight. But the difference that you'll see a lot of conversations about is if it's like Bradley Martin, 260-pound dude, you put any fighter, any actually trained fighter against him, regardless of weight, I'm betting on the fighter. But when you put two guys in the ring who both know how to fight and one guy's got 100 pounds on the other, I'm putting money on the 100-pound guy all fucking day, 100 times out of 100. So Eddie Hall is an example of this. He's not the best fighter in the world. He's not, he's not, wouldn't win necessarily against like super heavyweights in MMA or anything, but like,
I was gonna say
he's trained, he's done boxing matches and stuff like that.
But I only think his like fighting training has only been like a couple of years as is.
Yeah, it hasn't been too long. It's mainly been for like the Half Thor or Bjornsson shit. I don't know. Did that ever happen?
I don't know. I'll have to look into it.
But so here's the fight. So there's the context. Here's the fight. So this is the end of the fight. So this is round 3, about 30 seconds left. So this is the end of the fight. Let me do this. Let me go bigger. There you go. Power bomb, knocks him out. And I guess they just told him that he's done. But like the second guy, look at this.
The problem though, and you see it right there. You see it right there. The problem with people who are not trained fighters is that and because Eddie Hall he's just focusing on his strength, is that he doesn't. And again, this also isn't a sanctioned thing, so it's not like he's going to get called. But those back of the spine, back of the head punches are literally what will paralyze or kill someone. And in any sanctioned fight, you will be disqualified for doing that, and potentially even banned from fighting in those leagues. So I love that this happened, but you can see right there he lands one, right there he lands one. Those are so dangerous. And Eddie, he's a great dude. Don't ever think I'm speaking badly on Eddie Hall, but he doesn't have the fighting technique to know not to do that.
At least the instincts. A lot of fighting is instincts.
Well, he's just a big guy. He's surviving. He is literally in survival mode. I'm going to survive against these two like opposing forces. And the other guys who are trained fighters are like, okay, we have to target this and this because we know this will help us win the fight. And Eddie Hall's like, I smash. That's literally what it is.
What's dangerous too, like I don't think so. Like you can absolutely kill someone, and like there's this video. This boxer was fighting this other boxer, and he hit him in the back of the head, right where his spine connects to his brain, and now he's like paralyzed and mentally challenged and shit. Yeah, so it happens. The problem is whether or not you can, like, really, whether or not it's easy to do that to someone's spine. I'm not sure, but the problem is, it's not where he's hitting; is also the power. Because, like, look, well, he barely swung. Like he barely, like, all he did was react to him running up at him, and he fucking knocked him out. Like just trying to hit him, and fucking night, doing sleep, and he put he put that much effort into that potentially, he just kind of swung and hit him in the back. How hard he hit him, I don't know, but like that's what's crazy, and like that's the difference in weight and strength.
Right when the video opens up, he's literally just pounding down on someone's back, like the very first part of the video, right there. Pow, pow, pow. That's literally on his back of his shoulder and potentially upper back, like upper central back.
I'm glad at least with the throw, he didn't like throw him onto his head, because you don't realize
well, Eddie has more wrestling experience than he does fighting experience, so. That is, it's a known thing, like in the wrestling, like you want to take the person down, but you do it in a safe manner. You want to obviously hit the guy, but safe.
Yeah. I mean, there's technique and all that, and there's ways to do it safely. That's why there's a bunch of rules and stuff like that in the UFC.
Yeah.
A lot of stupid rules. Joe Rogan talks about it sometimes, how stupid some of the fucking rules are. But at least in this case, I'm glad he didn't like throw him onto his head.
I was going to say,
in the WWE,
there's no whiplash either of head hitting canvas right there, which is good too.
Yeah, but that's why they use that material. That's why everything's for a reason. The cage isn't actually metal; it's like a plastic.
It's like the
like
wire fences. Yeah.
it's like a plexiglass or something. Like it's kind of like that. It's not. There's no actual metal in the fencing. Padded up poles and all of that. There's a lot of things involved to make it safer. But yeah, it's just crazy to see like the difference in height and size and all that, and what happens when you're just that much bigger than the other people.
Mm-hmm.
You just throw them around, and this is what it's like. This is the average man versus the average woman.
I mean, you're not wrong.
This is what you get.
Yeah.
It's basically what you get. You don't realize it. That's why I think like a lot of defense classes, I think it's good. Like when you have women in your defense class, I think it's good to show like, all right, now we're gonna do there's classes where they'll do like a beginner man versus like an experienced woman in the self-defense, whatever it is for martial arts or whatever. And it really humbles them really fast. And women have talked about, they're like, it's crazy like how strong guys are, even when they're just like out of shape and just wanting to like learn how to like do whatever it is that they're doing. It's very easy to overpower women as a man. That's part of being able to have self-control. You need to have self-control and to not do that. But yeah, this is Eddie Hall for you. This comes down to biology. That's why I brought it up.
Yeah.
And Eddie Hall is totally on TRT at least.
I mean, something.
At least TRT. He's got to be just to survive at his size.
6'7" and 300, something like that.
I think he's 6'5".
Yeah, which is
part
also
of his problem that he had.
It's also really funny because he collabs with, and we've talked about this in the past, he collabs with Brian Shaw all the time, and he looks like a little kid, but that's when you've come to find out Brian Shaw is like 7'1".
I think Brian's like 6'9" or something, but he's just that much bigger too, like height and weight and all that. Like Eddie Hall had those issues with World's Strongest Man competitions because of his height. 6'5" is tiny when it comes to like trying to win the World's Strongest Man. There are other competitors at that height, but they're not gonna win.
Well, think of
all the winners
have
been like 6'9".
The toss. I forget what the actual what you're actually tossing there, but it's got to be like a
keg
30
toss.
kilogram keg where you're throwing it up over a bar, and you're already at a disadvantage because you have to exert more effort to get it up and over.
Yeah, I mean, granted, there are things that he has gains and like advantages like deadlifts and stuff like that, where like it's shorter range of motion, but it's not even necessarily its height. It's his height, but because of his height, he can't put on all of the mass and size that like Brian Shaw or Hathor can. That extra 4 inches goes a long fucking way when it comes to strength.
Yeah.
So that was his problem. And he went to the point where he found out basically if you keep doing this, you will die. Like he was going to die if he kept competing. He did that deadlift. Like I think he was told that before he did his deadlift, the 1,000-pound deadlift or whatever it was, or 500 kilograms, I think. He went up until that point, I think. Like he was told beforehand, you're going to die if you keep doing this. And he did the deadlift, and now that was pretty much where he started to fizzle out.
Yeah.
Competing and stuff like that. He dwindled it down. But just the food alone, you can't eat like those guys and survive for a long time. You can't eat 12,000 calories a day and survive a long time.
Let me
it's not possible.
What's the guy's name? What's his name? It's a guy from the WWE. Brian something. Hold on. Let me figure out, because he talks about his what he eats. And it's like he doesn't go by calories or anything like that. He goes by the pounds. And he eats a pound of chicken, a pound of red meat, and like 3 pounds of fish every day.
Yeah. I mean, he's probably eating a pound in one sitting, and a pound of meat is a lot in one sitting.
Yeah.
Especially if it's already cooked. Like if it's like a raw weight, it's a different story. Beef will lose a lot of weight. Chicken loses some weight, stuff like that. But like cooked weight, that's a fucking ton.
Braun Strowman, that's what I'm looking for. I don't know if you know who Braun Strowman is.
I do not. Let's see what this guy looks like.
This is Braun Strowman.
Amount of food.
How
tall is he?
He is a massive man. 6'8", 385 pounds.
I was gonna say it's at 385 or 305. That's crazy.
Yeah,
See, that's
385.
I could understand that.
He's got a strongman
6'8".
too.
I mean, I've only seen one guy who's 6'5", and that dude was tall as shit.
Well, I'm 6'4".
So I've seen like yeah, like you're super tall.
Mm.
6'5" is tall. So like seeing people like that is fucking like they would make you look short.
Oh yeah,
You know, like 6'8", 6'9".
and his sheer
make you
mass
look
would
short.
make me look short.
I mean, that just make anybody look small in general. I mean, Brian Shaw would make anybody look tiny.
Yep.
I mean, I still think it's funny when he walked into Sean Clarita. Like, holy shit, man, that is fucking hilarious. Sean Clarita's literally the weight of Brian Shaw's legs.
Yeah, literally.
His legs alone. Like 212 and under, that's Brian Shaw's legs. And that's Sean Clarita on stage. And he's up to about his belly button.
Yeah.
It's fucking crazy. Sean Clarita is also just a small dude in
He's
general.
tiny.
He's
Yeah,
also
but he's
like
the giant killer.
he's competing at like 186 or whatever, so he is a small dude. But
Yeah.
yeah, it just goes to show the difference in biology. So that was pretty much the gist of what we want to talk about today. Just fucking Miss Alabama, Miss Maryland, Miss Germany. Eddie Hall fight was funny to watch. I'm glad that I got to see that. I think I saw it last night, like late last night. I was in bed. I was like, wow, this is crazy.
Yeah.
And then I thought of to watch. It was like, figured we'd talk about it today. But yeah, we'll see what Eddie Hall does in the future. Hopefully he gets into like an actual boxing match. I want to see like what like a actual person who can like really compete against him would be.
Yeah.
That'd be an interesting fight. They just tire out in like round 4. They start falling asleep because they're big dudes and they don't have any stamina.
Yep.
Fucking snoring.
It's not even that they
standing up
don't
straight.
have stamina. It's that the stamina required to move a body like that just is so much more.
Yeah, it's so high. That's like there's an interview with Muhammad Ali and Mike Tyson, and that's their argument was like who would win, Mike Tyson or Muhammad Ali. Mike Tyson said, you know, Muhammad Ali all day, but Muhammad was like, I'm fast. He's like, I'm dancer. If you can't hit me. He's like, he wouldn't be able to hit me, but if he did, if he connected, then he's night. He went out, he'd be out. That was the thing with Mike. He wasn't the fastest, he wasn't the most agile, but you get one hit from Mike, you're fucking out.
Yeah.
You just had that power. You know, it's like that's what you get with size versus speed. What do you want to contribute more towards? In bodybuilding, it's looks or strength. You know, it's what do you want to contribute towards, and you gotta pick one or the other.
Yeah.
Boxing the same way. You can't be a powerful hitter and be super fast and agile and have a lot of stamina. There's no.
My created
both.
player could do both.
I maxed out all of my stats.
99 overall.
It's like UFC 5 or whatever. You're just like the best at everything. You have a 10 out of 10 everything. You're just super fast. Got a crazy powerful strike.
Yep.
Crazy at grappling. Undefeated GOAT. He'll never lose to anybody. But all right, that's pretty much all I got for today. We will talk to you guys next weekend. Potentially, we'll figure that out. I got Florida next weekend, so we'll figure that out. But we will see you guys later and appreciate you guys listening.
Hell yeah. Peace.
All right, we'll see you guys.